It's August 2026, almost a year from the time that I started making videos on YouTube for this channel. And I thought that I would revisit the Ohio property taxes and housing prices in general, which continue to go up, though not as radically as last year and the last 4 or 5 years. They are going up. Houses are selling, though at a slower pace around here. I don't know how people can afford these homes anymore unless they're purchasing from out of state, unless they're going to smaller homes. The area I'm at, homes are around 2,000 square feet. 2,500 square feet, but they could go all the way up to 4,000 square feet or more. The eastern part of Cuyahoga County is hoity-toity. Hunting Valley, Gates Mills, those homes. Sky's the limit with the square footage. Mansions over there. But I wanted to go over the average towns like Beechwood and Mayfield Heights, Mayfield Village, blah, blah, the typical average home suburbs. So I'm just reading about the general trends in the entire state of Ohio for this video, basically. And also want to cover, in general, what's happening with the property taxes, and they continue to surge. Nothing is really being done to provide relief to Ohioans. So that's a big issue. But for this video, I did some internet searches, and the first one I just asked AI, migration to Ohio. According to AI, Ohio is experiencing a positive shift in domestic and international migration. They're saying that the top states are Florida, Michigan, and Kentucky, which are bringing in new residents. Again, top origin states: Florida, Michigan, Kentucky. And then they're saying economic and job-based influx, massive tech and manufacturing investments. Like we have Intel near Columbus. They're saying Columbus remains a primary magnet for internal state migration and jobs seekers. And then they talk about some of the foreign-born residents migrating into Ohio, probably for the high tech. Regional impact. International arrivals have provided modest population stabilization and growth in Northeast Ohio, Greater Cleveland, and specific communities like Springfield. So that was just a general inquiry. So my next search I did was what I did last year, Redfin market reports. So I think this was a market report for July. It's only August 1st. So housing prices are up 2.4% in Cuyahoga County since last year. Square footage cost in Cuyahoga County is $165, up 6.5% last year. It's a lot more than what I paid for square footage. Cuyahoga County market trends. Again, 3 months ending July 2026, home prices were up 2.4%, selling for a median of 227,000. On average, homes in Cuyahoga County sell after 20 days on the market compared to 20 days last year. There were 1,467 homes sold in May this year, up from 1,390 last year. So inventory is growing a little bit. So really no big moves in housing prices. It's little bits of ups and downs. So we have the seasonal downs. Who wants to purchase a home in January, though? That's probably a good time to purchase, actually, because you don't have all the competition. So let's see, the peaks, April, July was last year, June was in 2024, and June of 2023. So funny how April was the peak and now it's going down a little bit. So this looks like it might even be May. Let's see. Redfin. Yeah, it's May. This is 26. Again, it's May. Saying the Cleveland housing market is very competitive. So I will instead of Cuyahoga County, I will say Beechwood, Ohio. Okay, the Beechwood housing market is very competitive. The median sales price of a home in Beechwood is $620,000 over the last 3 months, up 51% since what? No way. There must have been some type of mansion that sold. It was probably a very large home because in Beechwood there are some very large homes in some areas of the city. 51% compared to the same period last year. On average, homes in Beechwood sell after 27 days on the market compared to 21 days last year. There were 36 homes sold in May this year, up from 31 last year. I guess it's May again. So Beechwood is very competitive. Homes sell in 18 days. Many homes get multiple offers, some with waived contingencies. And this is 2026. The average homes sell for around list price and go pending in around 18 days. How about if I do Middleburg Heights? This is more on the west side, but it's still Cuyahoga County. The Middleburg Heights housing market is most competitive. The median sale price of a home in Middleburg Heights is $270,000 over the last 3 months, down 1.9% since the same period last year. The median sales price per square foot in Middleburg Heights is 189, up 13.9 last year. So the prices were down a little bit, but they're saying homes in Middleburg Heights sell after 5 days on the market compared to 5 days last year. So they're saying this is even more competitive than Beechwood. Most homes get multiple offers, often with waived contingencies. Okay, I'll look at two more. Parma, Ohio market report. Here we go again. Parma housing market is most competitive. The median sales price of a home in Parma was $233,000 over the last 3 months, up 2.6 since the same period last year. The median sale price per square foot is 178, up 6.6% last year. Over the 3 months ending May 2026, prices were up. Parma homes sold after 15 days on the market compared to 9 days last year. So there's a lot of homes sold. 245 homes sold in May this year, up from 223 last year. Okay, I'll look at Berea. So this is all kind of west side, southwest side. Again, Berea housing market, most competitive. Median sales price $262,000, up 2.9%. Square footage price $166. So we got a 93. So west side is more competitive than the east side, but I only looked at one market on the east side. So how about Mayfield? How about Highland? Well, that's kind of almost Lake County. Lyndhurst. Lyndhurst is very competitive. Median sales price of a home in Lyndhurst was $252,000 over the last 3 months, down almost a half a percentage point, or a little more than half of a percentage point over the same period last year. So these homes sell after 15 days on the market compared to 17 days last year. So you know that there's a crap load of people moving into Ohio. You could just see. 70 homes sold in May this year, up from 64 last year. It's price per square footage. It's $171. I think I paid $133 back in 2015. Locals did tell me, and I'm glad I listened to the locals. They told me you better buy now. Let's see which one. Lakeview, Ohio. Okay, where's Redfin? Do they have anything? I don't see anything for Redfin. Let's see, I'll put Redfin. This is not the same market, so Pepper Pike, that's by Beechwood. Pepper Pike housing market is very competitive. Wow, median sales price is 914,000, up 25.9 since the same period last year. It's a smaller market. Home prices were up 25.9%. Total insanity. There were 22 homes sold in May this year, up from 19 last year, so it's a smaller market. It's a 72, so homes sell around list price and go pending in 34 days. How about one last? Mayfield Heights. The Mayfield Heights housing market is very competitive. The median sales price of a home was $250,000 over the last 3 months, up 8.1%. Holy moly. Median sales price per square feet is $175. There were 65 homes sold in May this year, up from 54 last year. So this is an 88, so it's pretty competitive. Many homes get multiple offers, some with waived contingencies. The average home sells for about 1% above list and go pending in around 15 days. Hot homes can sell for 6% above list and go pending in around 4 days. Insanity. So I wanted to start with this market report in Cuyahoga County because I live in Cuyahoga County and it's a large metro area. It has a lot of businesses and jobs, and I'm sure a lot of people are moving here and not only moving in Columbus or Cincinnati. So I'm focusing on Cuyahoga County, but doing some dives into Ohio as a whole. So this is the housing market, and this here I wanted to point out. I listened to Jason Ferrier, who has a YouTube channel called The Housing Nerd. He's got two channels actually. He has the Ohio Housing Nerd and just the Housing Nerd. But on his Ohio Housing Nerd, he is gracious enough to provide this free data portal. So if you go on jasonferrier.com, you can access the same portal. He has a link on his website. It's you just click on data and you see this portal. And I think he gets a lot of this from Prop Ease. There's a website, a property website that is a paid website, but he's providing this for free. So go check out his channel, I can't even talk. The Ohio Housing Nerd or the Housing Nerd. But this website here, it just shows the home values. So this is Cuyahoga County. This is probably the average home value, $231,000. This is Cuyahoga County, $393,000, and then we got Lake County, $265,000. Cuyahoga County has a lot of wealthy areas. Lorain County, 268,000. Medina, 363. Stark, 220. Let's see, Wayne. Let's see, Summit. Got Portage County, 285. Okay, where's Summit? Okay, Summit, 234. So I zoomed in and it shows. So it looks like the darker colored counties have more of a higher market value than the orange colored. So if you got Franklin County, that's where Columbus is located. That's 332,000. And I believe these counties down here are the sites of many data centers and also a lot of like the Intel factory that they're putting up. So I believe this is near Cincinnati over here, southwest. And then you have the home value year over year change. And you can see home values continue to increase. Trumbull County, look at this, 8.5% growth. But Jason Ferrier goes over these. He's gone over these values. Don't know why Jackson County values decreased. But from what I'm told, just by any passerby, they say that people are moving to Ohio in droves. So, and from what I've seen on the Redfin market reports for the eastern suburbs, they're coming in from California, let me see. I'll put in Beechwood market report again to show where they're coming in from in this area. Let's see. This is the Redfin report, and this is just for Beechwood. You can see more than 210 people searching to move to Beechwood were searching from Los Angeles. More than 108 people searching to move to Beechwood were searching from San Francisco. And here they were searching from Seattle, searching from New York, searching from Washington, searching from Boston. These are some of the most expensive real estate markets in the country. So let me just put in orange. Okay, Redfin. You can have it. So again, this is mirroring Beechwood up with $720,000. That was the median price. Up 10.4% since last year. They're saying it's somewhat competitive. So it must have been a big sale in March. Homes in Orange sell after 41 days. So this is south, a little bit southeast of Beechwood, south of Pepper Pike. So let's see, where are people coming in from? Coming from Los Angeles, coming from San Francisco, coming from Seattle, New York. It's another one. Redfin, Moreland Hills. So these eastern suburbs, I think that's where these people are coming from the expensive real estate markets, and they're driving the prices just ridiculously high. Moreland Hills is very competitive. Median price 480,000. Well, they're saying it was down 23.4%. Okay. So it's a 76, very competitive. Many homes get multiple offers. So again, same markets: San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Washington, on and on. But I just wanted to bring that up. So on Jason Ferrier's website, he's got different metrics here: pending sales and days on market. So ones in the blue have less days on market. So here, property taxes. So if you look at the map, I guess this is the average property tax amount, though my property tax amount is like $9,600 a year per 2,500 square foot house. So I wish mine was 3910. So I guess the orange ones indicate the higher property taxes, unlike the blues showing that the value was higher. I guess here the orange are showing the higher. Wow, Delaware County, $7,132. That's total robbery. Lake County, $34.75. Cuyahoga County, $45.64. So this whole area surrounding Cuyahoga County is pretty high. So that's the property taxes. This is the change in property taxes year over year. 2.4%. Well, my property taxes went up over probably about 60% since owning the home in 2015. They went up about at least 15% in 2025 because of the ridiculous revaluation, and I actually dread next year because it's going to happen all over again. So Licking County, so this whole area by the data centers, 6.8%, 6.9%. Delaware County, 3.4%. Tax rate. This is why Cuyahoga County is so high. 2% in Cuyahoga County. Delaware, 1.6, 1.7. You know, these areas here, but Cuyahoga County takes the cake, 2% effective tax rate. So it looks like Cuyahoga County is the highest tax rate in the entire state. Not surprising. So tax rate year over year, they're saying it decreased 3.9%, effective 4.9%, 7.1. This is kind of misleading because everybody's tax bill went up, so I don't know what this means. My tax bill surged well over $1,000 in 1 year with this valuation. So they get you with the valuation, and then you have no idea how they're valuing the house because they don't actually come to your home. They just drive past the home, or they're probably using some kind of like Google Earth or something. And they're also probably using some of the resources with the permits. Every time you get a permit for a project, I'm sure that's used to increase your tax bill. So the one that I wanted to really focus on for the rest of this video is the tax distress. The pain that these taxes are causing everybody, and it's not just people who can't pay their bills, it's everybody. These taxes are just eating everybody's budget. You can't save as much money, so if you're able to pay your bills, well, this tax grift is eating into your budget. And unfortunately, I have to blame a lot on the schools because they continue to ask for more money. In fact, in my local area, the local school district is planning on asking for a levy on the November ballot, and it's going to cost, I think it was $200 or something like that for every $100 of tax valuation. So, or assessed valuation on your home. It's some ridiculous amount. So my tax bill again is $1,000 more, and this is the second year I'm paying that extra $1,000. And about 60% of my tax dollars goes to the school district. Yet they want additional money for their so-called operating cost on top of the extra $600 I'm giving these people every year. And the amount of money that they're bringing in from this increase in value, and they have the gall to want to put a levy request on the ballot. And I bet you any amount the people are going to vote yes, because in this area there's people with money and they don't even pay attention half the time probably to this amount of money. To them it's probably all some pocket change. So they don't care. They're just going to vote yes, just like some automatons. And then the other reason is they think, oh, my housing value's going up and I'm going to feel wealthier because my housing value is going up. But at the end of the day, who really cares about your housing value unless you're using your house as an investment, as, you know, you're getting cash out of it, or you plan on selling it. But if you plan on living in your home and you don't have any debt on your home, well, what's the point of having a higher valuation when that higher valuation is only going to increase your tax bill? And it's also going to increase your home insurance bill. So what's the point of that? And actually, earlier this year, I was talking to somebody on the street about the taxes, and they again, oh, well, it's going to increase my property value. So then I kind of mentioned this, and they didn't say anything, but I just think that is downloaded into their brains, just like an operating system, that school taxes up means my property values are up. So I'm going to continue to vote yes for property tax increases for the schools. I think that's just how a lot of these people are. It's just embedded in their brains to say yes to property tax increases. So enough of that. I just wanted to bring up now tax delinquencies. So we have here 51,396 tax delinquent properties in Cuyahoga County, 22 in Lorain County. Look at this, Trumbull County, 36,000, and that was the one that had the highest percentage of housing value increase. So you probably have a lot of investors buying in that county, and it's pushing up the tax prices for everybody else, because I think that's where Youngstown is located, and that was kind of a area that was hard hit by deindustrialization, closing of the factories, moving everything to China type of thing. So Franklin, Delaware, let's see, maybe Cuyahoga County has the highest tax delinquencies in the whole country, for that matter. Or I mean the whole state. Maybe the whole country, I don't know. Well, it's probably somewhere in Chicago. Probably Cook County. But not surprising. Tax delinquent percentage. Trumbull, look at this. These areas, 26% Trumbull, Mahoning, 16%. And these are probably people who can least afford these taxes. Almost 9% delinquency in Cuyahoga County. Lorain, 12%. Cuyahoga, 6%. Lake. Summit, 1%. Portage, almost 5%. So this county here must have a lot of money. Delaware County, they had the highest tax amount. Well, it looks like they can pay their taxes. So this is a pretty useful resource. So again, I suggest that you check out the Ohio Housing Nerd or the Housing Nerd channel. And support Jason Ferrier. I mean, it does cost him money to maintain this site. So I watch his channel. If I didn't watch his channel, I wouldn't know about this. And then you should subscribe to his channel as well. So the rest of this video is just talking about what happens to the delinquent properties and just kind of looking at some of the latest articles. So this came out, was actually just a couple days ago. So investors are buying Ohioans' unpaid property tax debts with 18% interest. Investors from Omaha to Chicago last year bought tens of millions of dollars worth of delinquent property tax debts from Ohio County treasurers, setting new records in several counties. So these people are out of state. They don't give two craps about the person living in that home. So that's pretty bad. This gives those institutional investors the right to collect on liens, plus up to 18% interest from Ohioans who are buckling under the weight of post-pandemic leaps on their property tax bills. It's just criminal. State lawmakers in 1998 legalized the sale of delinquent tax debt, joining roughly half of U.S. states to do so. Surprise, surprise. Several of Ohio's biggest counties are now selling record level of certificates, according to data provided by their treasurer's offices. Cuyahoga County in June sold off $18 million worth of debt, higher than any year on record. Franklin County last year sold $10 million, double the size of most year's sales. In the Cincinnati area, both Hamilton and Warren counties sold off more debt in 2025 and 2026 than any year over the past decade. Lucas County is planning its first tax lien sale since 2008. The system rewards companies as property owners accrue more debt. Buyers of the initial liens also give investors the right to purchase all subsequent tax lien certificates that counties sell off when a property once again falls behind on its taxes. Those certificates require by law an 18% interest rate atop the principal. In rare cases, the investors can pursue foreclosures if debtors fail to pay. So the stupid counties, rather than work with the homeowner, they just up and sell their homes to these investors who are probably brutal in trying to get these people out of the home so that they can flip them or rent them out. It's just another asset stripping method that's to get people out of their homes and get the homes to some big companies. Just classic asset stripping. County treasurers say the lien certificate sales are a critical enforcement tool. Like, the homeowner is a criminal. Like, oh, I'm just deciding not to pay my taxes. Well, they can't pay their taxes, you idiots, because you've increased them so much. In most cases, the repeated letters warning property owners of a looming sale spur them to settle their debt or enter a payment plan. It's just like fleecing from the mafia. And the tax liens that are sold, they say, make an efficient means for counties to collect what they're owed. Yeah, what they're fleeced. This is criminal. The entire system acts as a deterrent, ensuring people pay in full and trust that their neighbors aren't freeloading. What the heck kind of language is that? How many people voluntarily want to not pay their taxes and have their names and their home addresses on the internet for everybody to see, Oh, I don't want to pay my taxes and have my neighbors know that I can't pay my taxes. That's it's kind of infuriating that they would even infer that, because most people, they can't pay their taxes because they're underwater. They probably can't even pay all their bills, and if they can pay their bills, their taxes have increased to such an extent that, like for seniors on incomes, their fixed income doesn't increase enough to cover the increased tax amount. Plus, several treasurers negotiate different kinds of consumer protections into the sales, like limiting interest rates or screening out certain low income houses or small dollar debtors from sales. Yeah, I bet. End games from lien sales can be devastating. Last year, Ashtabula County's treasurer wrote a letter to Taxis Ohio, an affiliate of PV1 Capital of Chicago, asking for debt forgiveness for a 73-year-old widower. The county sold Tax E's 5 certificates for the man's debt in 2014 and 2015, worth nearly $21,000. A decade later, he had already paid $40,500 and still owed another $21,600. What? It's never the goal of this office to see members of our community lose their homes, particularly elderly residents who have worked diligently to meet their obligations, wrote Treasurer Angie Mackey Cliff in a letter to the company. Well, most likely these people have already paid off their mortgages too. Interest in eliminating these sales has gained traction in Columbus. Yeah, because people are waking up and probably flooding Columbus with letters and calls, and that's what you have to do. People have to go to the streets. Bipartisan lawmakers have proposed legislation that would prohibit the sales of these liens on residential and agricultural properties. And then Amy Acton, a former physician and state health official running for governor as a Democrat, recently proposed a crackdown on county lien certificate sales. Yeah, right. I don't think either gubernatorial candidate is going to do anything about this. Some counties are selling record levels of property tax debt. In June, Cuyahoga County sold 18 million worth of debt in a negotiated sale to NAR Solutions, a lender with a listed address above a retail pharmacy in Omaha, Nebraska. County Treasurer Brad Crome said the county took steps to protect residents beforehand. The office excluded from the sale properties with delinquencies less than $1,000, those less than 100,000 owner-occupied units in a designated impoverished or marginalized communities, or those that claim the homestead exemption. You have to be almost in poverty level to claim the homestead exemption. Interest rates were almost capped at 6%, down from 12% in pre-pandemic years. All those subsequent sales are legally required to be sold at 18% interest. Data Chrome's provided shows most of the tax debts from the most recent sales come from 2024, 2023, and 2022. Banks lawmakers say the loans are predatory. You got some politicians are probably running for office because once they get in the office, they don't do anything and they just report to their lobbyists. So they claim they want to eliminate these sales, but then you're still going to lose your house. It's just going to be coming from the county itself. And then the county will say, oh, well, it's costing us more money to pursue these loans, so we have to raise your property taxes to cover that, and nothing will get done. Ohio treasurers say they need the cash. Okay, what are they doing with this money? Yeah, so that's what's happening in Ohio. These investors are buying up delinquent properties, and a similar article here. So this is the same article, basically, different media outlet. And then this is from the Dayton Daily News. Ohio governor's race, how Acton Ramaswamy property tax plans stack up. I don't like either candidates. Um, I just, I don't. You're going to get more of the data centers with Ramaswamy, then you're going to get more of the same old school districts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and huge tax increases with Acton. The education industrial complex will grow massively under Acton, and the data center industrial complex, the technology industrial complex will grow even bigger and bigger with Ramaswamy. So pick your poison. I don't like either of them. So, but politicians, they don't do anything. They're just basically prostitutes, especially state and federal. We probably have better luck with local people. They're not as compromised as these state and federal people. That's just my opinion. But she's claiming, Amy Acton is claiming, she's going to give targeted property tax relief. But targeted probably means that you have to be making $20,000 a year. She'll cap it where most people will not qualify. You have to be a certain like a certain race, a certain age. And that's what she's going to do. Or if you're part of a school employment program, she'll probably give you a break there, because she's going to be bought and paid for by the school unions. I am laser focused on lowering costs for Ohioans. Sure. Certain Ohioans. She will expand the homestead exemption. Yeah, she'll probably raise it for like $5,000 or something for the income cap. Middle class people do not qualify for the homestead exemption. So she claims that she would put more money in Ohioans' pocket with a property tax spike rebate. Okay. So you have to pay the tax up front and then they're going to give you a rebate. Okay. What if you can't pay the damn tax? Crack down on predatory collection practices and push to finally fully implement the bipartisan fair school funding plan. They need to have the fair school audit plan where they go into these schools and find out where all the money is going. And then they also need to stop the practice of taking our tax dollars and hoarding them to put in their investment accounts and claiming, oh, well, we have to save for a rainy day. Well, they need to put a cap on what they can, how much they can add to the war chest, because we can't fund our investment accounts because we're sending more and more money to pay for the schools. So if elected, she says she would do the following to ease the burden of property tax hikes. Expand the homestead exemption by raising the income from $41,000 to $50,000. What's 55,000 homeowners? That's nothing. $50,000 is nothing. So it's just ridiculous. Institute a tax spike rebates of $1,000 with incomes below 132. Pay taxes on homes valued at or below 350,000. That's nothing, because the property tax, the market value is spiking well above $350,000 in most areas. And then how do they determine the value of this home? How do they define the value? They can manipulate that to then say, oh, well, your house is above $350,000. Crack down on predatory collection practices. Fight to fully implement the fair school funding plan. So these band-aids that she's putting on will do absolutely nothing. What's 55,000 homeowners? It might help somebody for a year. Oh man. And then Ramaswamy did not respond for details on his property tax plan. He says he will roll property taxes back to at least where they were before the end of the pandemic and cap their growth from there. Doesn't say anything. I don't like his idea of eliminating income taxes because they're really not that bad. The economic growth that we'll bring to our state, he's going to flood it with data centers. He thinks that we're going to get a boom because of the AI and okay. So school funding, I am just tired of this school funding. I'm tired of these schools. It's been in the conversation for all the years I've been alive. They started the lottery. It was supposed to solve the funding for the schools, and the schools just keep wanting more and more and more. My parents talked about this and were frustrated. My mom worked at the schools and she would talk about all the waste. It's just a big racket with these schools, and nobody is bold enough, brave enough to take on these schools. I mean, everybody just folds when schools start whining, because the schools then say, "Oh, well, don't you care about children?" And then everybody folds. It's just nothing but a racket. So I'm not sure that this abolishment of the property taxes will work. It's definitely not going to become law. I mean, it might get on the ballot, but you're going to have the school districts, they're going to have so much money that if it's on the ballot, they will fund to kill it. I don't think there's any politician that will vote for it. So they need to have some type of reform for these schools to, number one, have more consolidations of the schools, audits of the schools, find out where the money's going. They need to have some type of program that cut the costs of these administrators. I understand that the teachers are probably not getting paid what they should be paid. And I think the money, the grift is going to the administrators, and this whole grift of the so-called school improvements. There's a grift going on, and they need to uncover it. They need to have more audits by independent people, not people that are part of the whole system. And then they need to quit having seniors pay for these school taxes, and it should not be dependent on income. Once you reach a certain age, you should be able to stop funding these schools. Maybe it's 55, maybe it's 60, but it shouldn't be, if you're over 60 years old, you're still paying for these schools. It's just ridiculous. And then the schools keep asking for more money, but then the kids get dumber and dumber. And what goes with that? Plus, the school enrollment is going down. People are having less children. Why aren't more schools getting closed or consolidated? Don't know. It's a grift. It's a scam. So I'm just reading this. Acton school funding plan would cost roughly $2 billion, and he is wondering exactly where she plans to find the funds. Well, she'll increase taxes somewhere. It's a spending spree and a giveaway. The fair school funding plan has been discussed but not updated with each state budget since its inception in 2022. So another grift. The plan was a bipartisan effort to calculate the cost of teachers, busing, special education, and other school factors to determine a base cost to educate students. And who made the calculation? Probably union members. There are two bills introduced that attack school funding. Senate Bill 93 would establish a new system using a statewide property tax and increased sales tax. Oh my God. The bill had one hearing last October, but cost estimates weren't available. House Bill 884 would update the Fair School Funding Plan with updates based on 2025 costs. The cost is estimated at 1.1 billion. I think, and Ramaswamy says it's reasonable to look back and say, hey, look, let's return those costs to what they were in 2019 plus inflation. So they'll just inflate the inflation percentage, and I don't know. I don't trust any of this. It's just get elected. This is Cuyahoga County Treasurer's Office about tax certificates. Tax lien certificate purchaser records the lien with the county's fiscal office transfer and recording department. So Ohio Revised Code 5721 permits county treasurers to sell tax lien certificates on parcels that have delinquent taxes. In Cuyahoga County, taxes that remain unpaid following the second half July tax collection are certified as delinquent by the fiscal office and are then eligible for a tax lien certificate sale. Tax lien certificates are offered in bulk via a negotiated sale and are not offered for sale on an individual basis. All payments on delinquent properties set to have liens sold in the tax lien certificate sale or have had the certificate sold must be made with certified funds, cash, money order, or certified cashier's check. The Cuyahoga County Treasurer's Office is not selling the underlying property, only the right to sell delinquent taxes. The tax lien certificate purchaser pays the county the entire amount of the delinquency. The tax lien certificate purchaser then holds a lien, and the taxpayer is responsible for paying the lien amount and applicable interest to the purchaser. The taxpayer also remains responsible for the payment of current taxes to the county treasurer. My God. So it's all a scam. It's criminal. You got the official foreclosure auction site for Cuyahoga County. So you can search addresses, it looks like, properties and sales dates. So August 2026, we have various foreclosure sales, it looks like, on every Monday. Foreclosure, auctions, and let's see. We actually have addresses as well. So if you're the unfortunate person who can't pay their tax, well, again, your address gets broadcast all over the place, and eventually your neighbors know about it. You're talked about. on the street probably. Oh, so and so can't pay their taxes. And it's got to be just devastating for these people who can't pay their taxes. And I'm sure that there are deadbeats out there that don't care, but I think the majority of them are humiliated that, you know, they see their addresses on these lists. I mean, you have Richmond Heights. Let's see, look at these addresses. Warrensville Heights, Rocky River. You got appraised value. This is just somebody who just fell behind. Bedford. It's just a lot of these lower income. It's just criminal. Got a feel for these people. Most of them, I'm sure, they didn't ask to not be able to pay their taxes. Richmond Heights, South Euclid, Maple Heights, Broadview Heights. These are a lot of lower income communities. It's just have your house auctioned off. It's just sickening. And anybody watching, it could happen to you, it could happen to me. You just don't know. You can have all kinds of assets and money, and something could happen. Something with some medical event. Maybe they just have the addresses on the most recent one. But medical, a death in the family, business closure, a job loss, anything. So this is a Stark County certified delinquent parcels. Let's see. Oh wait, this is what I was looking for. Taxis, Ohio. This is one of those investors. This is one of the investors that buys up the packages of tax delinquency certificates, but it's all just a big business. And I think that if they did something with the schools, if they reformed these schools, find out where all the waste is, consolidate the districts to some extent, and put some kind of cap on how much they can hoard our money. I mean, our property taxes are not to be hoarded. They're to pay for services. And the fact that these schools are taking our property taxes and putting them in investments is criminal. They should have a way to have a certain amount put away for a rainy day, but they should not have an investment department. They should not have as their goal investments of millions of dollars. So they're fleecing us. And also the fact that seniors have to pay school taxes, that's got to stop. I hope that in my lifetime it stops. So that pretty much ends my kind of my soapbox presentation. So again, check out Jason Ferrier's Ohio Taxing Nerd, or I'm sorry, Ohio Housing Nerd and the Housing Nerd channel. So that's all I have. I'm just doing this one presentation because it's been a year since I did my last soapbox presentation on property taxes and home values. So please subscribe to my channel for other content related to Ohio. And thanks for watching.